What if everything you knew about your life was a lie? Imagine waking up at 80 years old and finding out you were never who you thought you were, that your real name, your real family, your entire identity had been stolen. This isn't a movie. This is the true story of a man named Luis Albino, kidnapped as a child, raised under a false identity, and finally found again 73 years later, all because of one DNA test. In 1945, in a small village in Uruguay, a 3-year-old boy named Luis Albino was playing outside his home. His mother was inside cooking lunch, his father was working in the fields. It was just another ordinary day. But when his mother stepped out to call him inside, Luis was gone. No sound, no scream, no witness. One moment he was there, the next he had vanished. A search began immediately. Flyers were posted, the police were notified. Locals combed the area for weeks, but nothing ever came back. No leads, no closure. Luis's parents were devastated. His mother never stopped believing he was alive. She would sit by the window every afternoon, hoping he might walk back through the front gate. He never did. Luis didn't die, he was taken. A woman in a nearby town, unable to have children of her own, had kidnapped him. She raised him under a new name, Carlos, and told him his parents had died when he was a baby. Carlos grew up believing that lie. He never questioned it. The woman fed him, clothed him, and sent him to school. But still, something always felt off. He didn't look like the rest of his family. The stories about his early childhood never made sense. And whenever he asked about his past, the answers felt rehearsed. Sometimes he'd joke with friends, "Maybe I was adopted or switched at birth." He had no idea. He wasn't joking. Carlos went on to live a full life. He got married, had kids, even grandkids. But the truth about who he really was remained buried for over 7 decades. In his 80s, Carlos's granddaughter convinced him to take a DNA test. She was building a family tree and thought it'd be a fun project. Carlos agreed. He spit in the tube, mailed the kit, and forgot about it. Weeks later, the results came back. There it was, clear as day. You may be a full sibling of Maria Albino. Carlos was stunned. Who the hell is Maria, he thought. He clicked the profile. Maria was 85, living in Argentina, and according to the system, she was his biological sister. Now here's the twist. Maria had also taken a DNA test, but not to find anyone. Her grandchildren had bought her the kit last Christmas as a fun gift. She had long accepted that her brother was probably dead. But when her DNA results showed a 99.98% sibling match to someone named Carlos, she nearly dropped her phone. The platform let them message each other. At first, Carlos was cautious, but when Maria sent over an old black and white photo, a photo of him at 3 years old, his whole body froze. He had seen that face before, in the mirror. The truth finally hit him. He wasn't Carlos. He was Luis Albino, the boy who vanished in 1945. After days of video calls and DNA confirmations, they made plans to meet. When Luis, Carlos, walked into the airport, Maria was waiting with tears in her eyes. She hadn't seen her brother in 73 years. But the moment she saw him, she knew. They hugged like they had never let go, both crying, both laughing. 2 old souls, torn apart by life, finally whole again. They sat for hours, sharing photos, stories, and regrets. Maria showed him letters their mother had written in her final years, letters filled with hope that he might come home one day. And somehow, he had. Luis lived his whole life under a name that wasn't his, but in the end, he found his way back. Not because he searched, but because science and family did. One test, one match, one miracle. And just like that, he was no longer a ghost. If this story moved you, if you believe in second chances, in family, in the unexpected power of truth, subscribe to the channel. We share true stories that go deeper than headlines, real people, real emotions, real life. Your next favorite story might just be waiting here.